We're live. We're in the game.
Mustard Monday. Here we come.
We still have to figure out a Mustard Monday song, right? I don't
We
think the thing about Mustard Monday.
I like it.
Really? Yeah.
Well, it'll come together.
Well, this is actually an unusual episode of Mustard Monday. It's only episode number 3. It's a little bit unusual because it's going to be a bit of a, well, a few reasons. One, we were supposed to do it at 11 o'clock this morning, our time, on Pacific Standard Time.
Yes.
However, our local grocery store and butcher did not have the rib roast.
Talk about being unprepared.
Hey! Well, I guess you did right there. So, what do you do when you don't have roast beef?
You wait. You wait until you have a nice cut of roast beef.
That's right. So they said it would be in around noon our time today. So they did a wonderful job. Colin, our butcher at the co-op, did a fabulous job. This is the beautiful. Let me take it off the styro. Gorgeous.
Ooh,
Nice marbling there too. You see all that there.
fantastic.
And they've got a nice 2-bone rib roast. Yeah, that we're gonna roast up. And when we were talking, I'm gonna wash my hands. When we were talking about Mustard Monday ideas. Hold on. So the other unusual thing about this episode is that it's a 2-parter. So we're going to start this one by showing the prep that goes into the rib roast.
Yeah.
And then we're going to take a break. When we come out of the oven, we're going to finish it and we're going to show you that again.
Which is kind of perfect because we wouldn't want to put this on before now, really, anyway. So I'm going to wash my hands too.
For sure. And this is my Wilf Kaplan t-shirt. This is my dad on my shirt here. Willa designed these shirts for my father's, was it the 80th birthday that we did?
I think so.
And a few years ago. And so Willa did a lovely job on these. Hi, Monica. Thanks for stopping in. So the other cool thing about this is it's a double-barreled recipe. So we're going to show you the rib roast. This is a classic. This is right from Bonnie Stern's own Friday Night Dinners.
It is like when I moved to Toronto, this is the book that my mom got for me.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
My mom's huge Bonnie Stern fan.
Yeah.
And followed her recipes in the National Post for a really long time, bought all the Heart Smart cooking books. And
Still has them all?
Still has them all.
Too?
And yeah, so this was the one that she bought me when we went away. And this is we're doing a slight modification of the recipe that she has in there for doing a roast.
I have a whole bunch of wonderful. Hey, Kathy. Yes, I love that Scott made the vinaigrette, and it's amazing that people are actually learning these recipes and doing them at home as well. It really makes us so happy that people connect that way. I've got so many amazing Bonnie Stern stories. One of those stories, of course, is that she's actually a cousin of mine. That we shared an Aunt Pearl, and Pearl Duckman was my Uncle Morris Duckman's wife, and Bonnie was related to Pearl on the other side of the family. And when I was at George Brown Cooking School, I asked Bonnie as a school project, so I went to chef school there, and if she would come and talk to our class. Mm-hmm. And that was really the first time I'd ever met Bonnie, which was, I made the connection through Aunt Pearl, and I was so thrilled. I mean, she was a genuine culinary celebrity, a celebrity chef.
Completely.
One of the very first in Canada, and that new model. Actually, Bonnie was in the first class at George Brown College, and she told us that her early notes in those classes became the context or the fodder for some of the early textbooks. That's right. And Bonnie was also a huge source of support and inspiration for me when I opened the deli. I remember the day that her daughter Anna came by the restaurant when I was still at the Monarch Tavern, and we
have a vegan here.
Vegans are fine. Just focus on the carrots. The carrots are here. Yeah. Focus on the carrots. We'll make it through. The mustards are vegan.
Yeah.
The meat, not so much.
And where in the world is Max? Says hello from Hogtown.
Hey!
Okay, so I'm going to move this out of the way. So this book is called Friday Night Dinners. And traditionally, my family would have these dinners on a Sunday night.
Yeah, and
it would be Sunday night dinners for us.
And so this was a recipe that Willa's mom loved and used to make for your family.
Yes.
As well.
Yes, it was her go-to. Once she found that recipe, she's just like, I only ever want to make it this way.
And what's lovely for us too is that mustard is the star of the show. Instead of the Dijon mustard that Bonnie uses in her book, we're actually going to use our horseradish mustard. And this mustard, as Willa knows, is designed to go with beef. So mustard, horseradish, and the other big seasoning in here is coriander. Though that triumvirate of spices matches up so beautifully with steak and with everything beef. So instead of Dijon, we're going to use our horseradish mustard, and it's a pretty simple thing, right?
Yeah, it is. So should we get started with the actual recipe?
Phyllis is in the house. Hello, Phyllis.
Excellent.
Heather, a high school friend of mine, is here. Hello, Heather. And see, Kathy is still here, and Sandra. Amazing. Nice to see everybody.
Nice. Okay, so here we go.
Cool. Just do it.
1/4 cup of mustard.
Cool. Let's get that going.
Oh, we're actually going to measure stuff. This
Are we?
Exciting. Yeah. Why not?
Breaking new ground. 1/4 cup measure is.
That's 1/4 cup.
And it is. I'm the non-measuring Kaplanskis.
And I am the measuring Baratas.
That's why we get along so well. Oh, we have a bit of stoppage here. I'm going to just take this top off. Go pour a little better. There we go. Perfect. 1/4 cup of horseradish Kaplanski's mustard.
Here you go.
Thank you.
All right. 2 tablespoons of olive oil.
Wonderful. Always have olive oil right next to the cooktop.
Measure that out as we go. 2. And we're just going to mix this together with, what else have we got in here? 4 cloves of garlic, minced.
Dokes. So I've shown you my technique for crushing garlic before, and it's pretty straightforward.
I'm going to scrape the rest of this, and I'm going to start scrapping some of the herbs. We're using fresh herbs. We're using fresh rosemary, fresh thyme.
Bonnie says in the book that if you use dried, you want to use half as much dried because dry spices and herbs tend to be much stronger than fresh.
Yeah.
So be careful about over seasoning.
So here's our rosemary. And we've actually planted rosemary and thyme, I believe, but they just haven't, they're just not.
We have some dill that's starting to sprout as well. We have a nice little garden that's going to be on the go here in Tofino, and being able to use those things in these recipes as we move forward is a real pleasure for us. The smell of fresh herbs is really delightful.
Beautiful.
Yeah. And the other trick I like to do when I chop up garlic is that I use salt on the cutting board, and the salt absorbs the oil from the garlic. You can actually see the oil starting to collect around the crushed cloves that we have here.
Oh, Shellac 33 says that horseradish mustard is their favorite.
That's Scotty. Hey, Scott.
That's so nice.
Scott and Kathy both in the house. Amazing. So we use our kosher salt for this purpose.
And the recipe calls for salt and pepper, so you can just use the salt to crush up the garlic, and that way you're multiple purposes. Would you want to do the same with the like the herbs as well, because they have like essential oil? Yeah,
it's a very good point, and using salt to absorb the oil on the rosemary, on the thyme. Does make a lot of sense as well. And you can see that what Willa's doing is she's picking the leaves of rosemary off the stems. Quite an easy thing to do. It's a little bit more tedious when you get to the thyme because the thyme leaves are smaller.
Is that a tablespoon?
It's also, another important thing, and this is kind of the point I want to make to you about my non-recipe following ways. And I should have shown it a moment ago, but there are cloves of garlic, and then there are,
like
small,
the teeny tiny
the ones I broke up. And so you see 4 cloves of garlic. It really is all about taste, and it's all about your taste. It depends the way you like things to taste. And one of the most important lessons that I learned at George Brown and in my cooking career is that the difference between good cooks and great cooks is that great cooks taste things. And they have a little spoon in their pocket and they make sure that it's right. It's especially important in a restaurant situation because you want consistency. You want your customers to always come back and say, oh, you know, it was so much better. You never want them to say it was so much better that other time. Or, you know,
that's a horrible thing to say.
That inconsistency will kill you. And
you're right. This time's a beast.
And the time is not a big deal if you get those little bits of stem in it. Don't worry.
It is just going to be a rub, so I guess it's not as like.
And all this is going into the same bowl?
Yeah, so it's all gets mixed together, and then we're going to rub it on our roast.
Wonderful.
So as you can see, Zane put the roast. You put the roast fat side up.
And the reason we do that is that the fat will render from the roast, and it'll render down onto the rest of the beef. Sort of a self-basting kind of action going on there.
Now, did you? So this is a rib roast, right? So it has ribs. Are they attached? Are they detached? Like, is there a method for or is I'm just curious.
If I want to take it off the bone, you mean?
Yeah. So I mean, I just don't. What's the difference between a prime rib and a
standing rib roast? Yeah, usually it's the presence of the bones themselves, and the bones themselves will affect the weight of the beef. It'll affect the flavor of the beef somewhat too, and there's lots of fat that happens in and around the bones, and it circulates the heat a little bit differently too. And personally, I love that very sort of primal, the beat off the bone. That's one of my favorite things about eating beef. That's why I like bone in. Plus, I know your dad does too, and your mom does as well. So, understanding the preferences of the people that you're cooking for is a big part of this as well.
Okay, so we're going to throw everything in the bowl.
The garlic goes in?
Garlic goes in. Herbs go in.
Great.
And so that was a tablespoon of rosemary, tablespoon of thyme, and the last thing we need is salt and pepper.
So remember,
we've got salt already.
You already have some salt in there. And
so Bonnie called for a tablespoon of each. But we've probably got a tablespoon of salt in there. So really it's just
And fresh black pepper is really where it's at as far as I'm concerned. You can use the stuff that's pre-ground, but you can smell the aroma of the black pepper.
So is there a difference between black pepper and white pepper? There
is. There's black pepper, white pepper, there are green peppercorns, red, pink peppercorns, and they all have a slightly different flavor as well. It's
okay. I just thought white was used for white is used for white food and black.
Yeah, you're exactly right. So for mashed potatoes, for example, you typically don't want to have little flecks of the pepper because it makes it look dirty. Same with coleslaw, for example. If you're going to use pepper, white pepper tends to be finer when you grind it, and it's also hotter. So you have to.
Is it? Oh, I had no idea. Okay, so we're gonna just rub this all over our roast. I'm gonna do it.
Well, I just rinsed off my hand. I'm happy to do it. So
I'll just.
And so the mustard here really functions beautifully as kind of like it did in the 30-second Thursday.
So
nice.
Little.
There you go.
Show you guys. That's what it's looking like.
And so the mustard is the medium, as Marshall McLuhan famously said.
I believe that is exactly what he said.
The medium is the message, and in this case, the mustard is the medium for holding and carrying all of those herbs and all that garlic on the outside of the meat.
I think we got it all.
It really does. There's no real reason to rub the underside here. The mustardy goodness will all drip and seep around it.
Gosh,
but just for my own sake, I'm just going to give it a little. There we go. It does smell good. It looks good. It smells good, and I can't wait to put this in the oven and then to bring it out and show you what it looks like on the other side. We've preheated the oven.
Yeah, so we've got our oven at 425. Now, do we want? So we're going to cook it for 20 minutes. then reduce the heat.
Tom Allison likes how black pepper looks in coleslaw. Tom, you can have your black pepper in your coleslaw however you like. There's no rules.
There's no wrong way.
No.
But I noticed that you pulled out some carrots.
Yes.
And we have a nice big roasting pan.
Exactly. And so now is the part of the exercise where we're going to sort of do a little 1-2 shuffle. So we're going to do the rest of the beef recipe with those roasted vegetables, and we're going to make our stock at the same time.
Perfect.
So Willa knows how I get when I see carrot peels being thrown in the garbage. And if you want to, personally, I'm a non-carrot peeler. However, again, I know that Willa's parents like their carrots peeled.
I don't know when they started liking their carrots peeled, because I feel like that's not what I grew up. But
you know, when you reach a certain age, you don't have to explain, you don't have to excuse, you don't have to apologize.
You're just like, we're peeling the carrots now.
And it allows us to use the carrot peels for the beef stock that we're going to make, and as part of this process.
Yeah. So the beef stock will come back into play when we make gravy.
Right. So the ends of the carrot, beautiful for beef stock. And you'll notice that carrots obviously have a tapered shape to them. So you do want to trim the carrots a little bit so that they're uniform, so they cook at the same time in the pan. Some carrots don't get cooked, some carrots are undercooked. Try and trim them down so that they're all uniformly shaped.
Okay.
That's one fun fact.
It is.
And we're going to, we can also, I bought a leek at the co-op today.
Ooh.
So I'm gonna go right into the
you're gonna
stock pot. I've got the water on simmer.
Wonderful.
And typically in a stock, the holy trinity, as Emerald would like to say, of carrots, onions, and celery absolutely applies. Now, as most of you may know, leek is part of the onion family, and you can absolutely use leek as part of your stock. Yeah, it's perfect.
And we're just going to put them around like that, right?
Yep. You do want to be a little bit careful because leek can get dirt that traps in between the leaves, so you don't want to get. So you can see it right there. Actually, I don't know if you can see it at home. A little bit of schmutzy up here. There you go. But so you're going to want to clean that out and be very careful of it when you drain your stock. If you allow it to sink to the bottom, then you just lift everything else off of it. And also be careful because the leek will slightly change the color of your stock.
Really?
Can, yeah. Well,
so,
I could point you to the green stock that we have in our freezer from the last time we did this.
That was we made some crab stock from crab shells. Well, seafood stock for some sort of seafood dish that we haven't yet determined what we're going to make with it.
Probably a chowder or a seafood bisque at some stage.
Yes.
And with leeks, you want to use the white part. So I'm going to reserve that white part that I found in the middle. And the rest of these leaves I'm going to put directly in our stock. Willa's going to put the rest of her peels in
I'm going to
as
keep
well.
peeling carrots.
We're going to roast some of this. And I'm going to throw a whole white onion in as well, just because it's...
Do you want to cut up an onion and throw it into the...
That's what I'm doing, yeah.
Oh, yeah, okay. Sorry, I didn't know if you were throwing it into the stock or into the...
I think I said stock, but I kind of meant roasting pan. But thanks for keeping me honest. I love it.
I'm just trying to clarify.
This is the challenge of working with somebody who doesn't really work from recipes. So, but I'm glad that Willa does, and I'm glad that she and Jennie love Bonnie as much as I do. Remember that time that we went out for lunch with Bonnie after the radio show?
It was so nice. She was so lovely, and I got my photo taken with her, and it was a very exciting day.
It was a bit of a fangirl moment for sure.
It definitely was.
So I'm just going to quarter these onions, and I'm going to put them directly into the, maybe 2 onions we'll use?
2 onions. Everyone in my household likes roasted onions.
And what's going to happen too, if you're not all that familiar with roasting, is that the fat will render from the roast, and then the vegetables will all get cooked in that lovely beef schmaltz that will collect at the bottom of the pan. And so during the roasting process, you're going to do a little basting, and you're going to take some of that oil. You're going to shake the vegetables around, make sure that they're all cooking consistently and evenly.
So,
remember the time we had the dinner party at Phyllis's house with Bonnie and Mark, her husband, and Judy Purley was there. This was a really difficult time for me. This was right after we closed the deli, and our wonderful friends. I'm tearing up, but it's because of the onions, I swear. Phyllis and Saul invited us all over for dinner, and Bonnie and Mark and Judy and the whole team were just lovely to us. Oh, here. It was a hard time for me, for sure. But your friends are with you.
So I've had issues before where I thought I was being super clever and put my vegetables down first and then put my meat on top of my vegetables, and somehow my vegetables didn't cook properly. Is that like a thing, or did I just do something wrong?
I don't think it's a bad thing to do. I mean, the issue can be that they'll burn on one side, you'll not be able to get them cooked
because they're
right.
hidden. Okay.
The other thing is that Willa's parents have a device that lets the there's a leak in there as well. Actually.
Sure.
You know what, I'm gonna.
Okay, I think we're good for vegetables.
Cut that a little bit. David Small's in the house, and David commented on the monstrous nature of this leak. And I think he's right. I've never seen a leak like this myself. And celery. We're gonna do a little celery too, right?
I'm gonna show everyone what we've got going on here. That's really good. Ooh, it's slipping. There we go. It's like that. Beef schmaltz isn't the same as suet, is it?
No. So that's well, it kind of is. I mean, beef suet is beef rendered beef fat, and so I'm kind of using the two terms interchangeably. So I would say yes, although it's not the same thing as caul fat. Caul fat is a completely different thing.
Huh.
But if you have a beef suet,
I remember my mom using suet for Christmas pudding, I want to say.
Yeah.
I guess that's the thing. And we would keep it in the freezer, and it was it was very crumbly. But I would assume that.
There's a great Malcolm Gladwell podcast where he talks about the seduction of McDonald's French fries, and that they had originally used beef fat as their beef suet as their cooking medium. So those irresistible McDonald's French fries were made with beef fat. And there was one fellow in particular who was a crusader against the high cholesterol. I mean, it was quite wrong, but got McDonald's to stop using beef fat, much to our own misfortune now.
Terrible.
Yeah.
So are we throwing in celery with this as well?
Should we?
Yeah, I think it's a great idea. I like it too.
So,
do we need any water now that we have all these vegetables in here? Are they going to release water, or what's the?
They'll release a little bit of water, and we're starting at 425. We're going to wait.
Yeah, probably. Same as the carrots.
I mean, the flavor of roasted celery is amazing.
So yeah, so 20 minutes, 425, and then we reduce to I think it was 350.
350.
And then we cook it off for it's going to be at least 2 hours.
Yeah. So it's 2:30 now. So we're going to come back around 4:30 when the beef comes out of the oven. So 2 things. One, please invest in a meat thermometer. You don't really know how well it's cooked unless you have a meat thermometer.
Yeah.
And the temperature that you're going to want, if you surpass it, you can't go back. Mm-hmm. So always taking it out a little bit underdone and then bringing it up is a better idea than not. And please rest your beef. The number one biggest thing that people do.
What does resting mean though?
So if you imagine that when you're under high heat, all of the juices, the muscles and the fibers of the beef tighten. The juices coalesce, condense towards the center of the cut of meat. And if you don't give the beef fibers a chance to relax and those juices to redistribute themselves evenly throughout the cut of meat, what's going to happen is, and we've all had this happen, don't deny it, I know you have. When you cut into it, all the juices right into the pan. And the meat becomes dry and tough, and you've got a plate full of blood in front of you.
Mm.
So resting your meat, and in this case, for thank you, it's somebody who loves you that does that. It's going to be about 20 minutes to half an hour of resting before we're going to cut into this. So it's kind of perfect. We tend to like to eat around here around 5 o'clock.
Yeah.
Old people time. I know. We love it. We do it. We love it. And so we're going to use that half an hour to make a gravy, a pan gravy, not pan gravy, but a proper gravy for the roast beef.
Oh.
What's going on?
So Tin Pan Alley Picture says, I sometimes replace potatoes with celeriac
Celeriac, yes.
in slow roast like this.
That's a great tip, actually. And funny enough, just before we turned on the cameras, Willa ran next door to her parents, and they're all out of potatoes. We haven't been eating a lot of potatoes ourselves as part of our plan to the way that we eat. But celeriac is a wonderful substitute for potatoes. That's a great suggestion.
Is that fennel or is that something different?
Celeriac is a root vegetable. It kind of, it isn't, I'm pretty sure it's related to celery. I'm not as familiar exactly where it comes from. It's a very funny looking vegetable as well. But this is roasting is a wonderful way to use celeriac. Sometimes people will get those, like the TUC does, those boxes.
Yeah.
And you'll get a big chunk of celeriac. I mean, it could be like the size of your head. Should we keep this and replant it?
We've got one on the go.
I know, it's working really well.
It's working really well.
Because the other thing that I typically do with these is I'll just throw it right into the...
You might as well just throw it right in. Just do it.
Okay. How much carrot did we throw in there?
Just
the peels from the 4 carrots?
Yeah.
Okay, should be enough. Do you want to talk about your pin at all?
Oh, this was a gift from my sister. I don't know if you can see it. It's beautiful. It's
some beadwork.
Yeah, it's an indigenous artist up in the Yukon.
Was Teresa?
No, you're thinking of the person who did your pickle.
Oh, different person.
Different person.
Oh, I didn't know.
This has caribou tufting and coral and sunstone and beautiful glass beads and some gold beads as well.
It's gorgeous.
And I love it, and I highly recommend going up, exploring the artists that have all their stuff online nowadays and that are selling that way. But yeah, we got some great keychains from another artist in Victoria.
I take my pickle Rick, and you got
I got a Corona Rick.
It's a really funny thing. Thanks so much for tuning in. This is kind of cool, eh? So the roast is in the oven. Yeah. The stock was on the stove top. The only other things I didn't show you with the stock were I like to add black peppercorns, whole black peppercorns.
And so, are we going to talk about these bad boys? Like,
thank you.
We're making veggie stock right now.
Do you want to know and understand why we're doing this together? I'm making a vegetable stock. Thank you. So we bought some beef bones.
Yeah.
That we roasted off earlier today. Thank you, Willa.
Okay.
And you show them to the camera quickly.
Yeah, I think so.
So we've been sitting with them in our freezer for a while, and these beautiful beef bones.
So we both wanted to eat the marrow out of them, but we didn't.
We resisted.
We resisted.
For you. This is what we do for you. And Ben, we're gonna go right into the stock with that. Okay. And the other thing that we put in.
What about all this oil that's sitting here that
beef schmaltz?
Yeah, that they've thrown off. Do we put that in or do we leave that off?
So I would say put it in because it's gonna add some flavor to the stock. It will at the end just float to the top. The other thing that we could do with it if we wanted to is put that into the roasting pan with the.
Start it off with.
So then we have a little oil on the bottom of the roasting pan. And that, Willa was asking about some liquid, some water, something in the roasting pan. We can use the beef fat for that.
I'm not going to throw in this last one because that pot's really full of.
Do it.
Okay. You're cleaning up the mess.
I will clean up the mess.
Okay.
And I think we should throw this in with the.
Sure.
So I'll pull it out. Okay. So then we'll just review before we let you all go. Excellent. Just wait a minute. Perfect. That's wonderful.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's beautiful. Okay.
Nothing gets wasted in Capshaw kitchens.
Well, waste not, want not. And I mean, if we're not gonna put it to the side and put it in the fridge and use it for something else, then we might as well throw it into our cooking stuff.
Exactly. So we have our Bonnie Stern inspired mustard prime rib roast.
Yes.
In the oven. It's going to cook for another 2 hours roughly.
Yeah, about that.
We've got our beef stock, not vegetable stock. You're the best. On the stove top with our beef bones, our carrot scraps, our celery, some leeks.
So we're going to use that to make. We're going to add that to the drippings to make gravy once we're done, because we don't know how much drippings we're going to get. So having some beef stock on hand to do that. And some shallots and maybe a little bit of red wine. I don't know if we have any red wine. We'll have to look. We have good red wine. That's the problem. And I don't want to use it for cooking.
You know, we're not going to use that much. Maybe we'll run out to the store in the meantime and buy some less nice red wine. All of our friends are here, and it's so nice to see you all. And Sandra Bursey Fisher asks to see your pin up close.
Oh, sure.
I'm not sure if she's on Facebook.
She's on Facebook.
So that's Instagram. It's gorgeous. It really is.
I feel like I'm like shuffle, shuffle, shuffle. See that there? So the tufting is this part here, the kind of darker parts. No, maybe I'll just take it off. That might be easier. There we go. Yeah.
My cousin Neil's here from New Jersey. Likes my Wilf t-shirt. You kind of have to know Wilf to really appreciate the t-shirt, but we love you, Dad, and nice talking to you on the phone yesterday. I think that's about all we're going to. Conrad's here. Hey, Conrad. Hello. Nice to see you. One of your former church mates.
Oh, that's so nice.
Gail.
So Kaylin Baker is the artist. Just
good.
to let you guys know. I wanted to make sure I got it right. So I looked it up.
Kaylin?
No, Kaylyn.
Perfect. Kaylyn, and look her up online. We used my horseradish mustard in the mix.
We did.
Our mustard sales this weekend were crazy. Thank you so much to everybody who ordered our mustard. And we'll be back in a couple of hours. We're going to take the beef out of the oven. We're going to make the beef gravy, and then we're going to head next door and
eat like champions. So
that's about it.
Thanks so much for
this was fun. Well done.
Yeah, it was great. I'm going to
and Bonnie Stern's Friday Night Dinners, amazing book. All of her stuff is great. I have nothing but love for Bonnie.
Vickers Gallery's here.
Hey!
West Patisseries here.
Hello, Jessica. Hello, Stephen.
Kat just says, putting aside my selfish desires for Kaplansky's to be back at the Monarch or in college, and happy to see how happy you two are out west.
I really appreciate that, KJ, and that matters a lot to me. We are very happy here, but that being said, I did a whole pop-up thing last summer with the Blue Jays. Our restaurant at the airport is going on, and I've got a bunch of big announcements coming up. So you will have Kaplansky sandwiches again. Believe me, it's going to happen. Stay tuned. Bye, Instagram.